Hey guys, Matt here, and today I messed up by going to this subreddit again, because today I'm back on r/TIFU. Oh no. Today I tried to find, I've got 3 stories, they're not NSFW territory though. I tried to avoid those. I'm looking at the top of the month because I haven't looked at this in a few years even. Oh no, I haven't looked at this since last year because the last episode I did on this absolutely was atrocious. Not atrocious, like just an absolute I messed up moment. So I've got 3 stories lined up and let's get into them. TIFU by helping drunk co-worker and trusting HR. I, a 29-year-old male, work in digital marketing. Company held party to celebrate the completion of big project. As I was walking to my car, I noticed a drunk female co-worker, mid-30s. We worked together for 3 years, but it's a big department and I don't know much about her. She was having difficulty walking. I offered help and she held out her hand. I asked if she drove here. She took an Uber. Helped her call another one as she vomited. Uber driver arrived, saw the condition she was in, and took off without saying a word. Understandable. I decided to drive her home. I have a dual front and rear dash cam setup. I moved the rear camera, placed it in front, and adjusted angle to make sure inside of vehicle is covered. Lifesaver. Fast forward 1 month to April 25th and last week. Oh, this is a very recent story. This is literally posted 2 days ago. Just realized that. And I was called into HR. My manager was sitting with a serious expression. They asked what I did after the party. I immediately became defensive and asked what the meeting is about. HR person said that they received a complaint from an employee accusing me of inappropriate behavior. I responded, I have no idea what you are talking about. I did nothing inappropriate during or after that party. Whoever complained has the wrong guy. They stepped out into the hallway for a couple of minutes. I'm starting to sweat even though I did nothing wrong. Thinking, I remember giving a co-worker a ride home. That must be it. They step back into the office. Manager says they have a witness who saw me put drunk co-worker into my car. I said, yeah, I drove her home. Nothing happened. And I did not put her in. She accepted the help. Silence. They stare at me like I'm guilty. Nothing but suspicion and judgment. HR says they'll continue investigating and will speak to me the following week. I received an email today telling me to make a statement for the police and that I'm suspended until the case is dismissed. I'm peeved. Really peeved. I hired an attorney and submitted a statement to the police. After asking around, I learnt the co-worker I gave a ride to is apparently the ex-wife of my manager's golfing buddy. Yep. Oof. Little does the company know, I protected myself with dashcam footage as well as a short cell phone video of me walking her to the house. I am innocent and will fight this. TLDR, I drove drunk co-worker home, accused of inappropriate behavior 1 month later, suspended by my company while they investigate. I hired an attorney and have video footage proving my innocence. Man, it is annoying when you do something nice for someone else and the company that you work for ends up screwing you over, suspending you for however long this investigation goes for. And I bet you HR is gonna be like, no, that video's doctored. Like, how? Like, it's a whole month later. Like, what evidence? Like, eyewitness. That's all you have. Just move on like I'm going to here. TIFU by letting my family back into my life, unaware that I had won the lottery years prior. So, backstory. I am a 36-year-old male, and the youngest of 5 children. Boy, girl, boy, girl, boy. I wondered if the next one's going to be a girl. And we grew up in absolute poverty. Mum loved having kids, but she didn't work, and Dad didn't make enough to support everyone. Poor enough that I remember as an 11 or 12-year-old receiving a single plastic slinky and being absolutely thrilled that I got anything. Oh, wow. Growing up with that kind of family was rough. Parents got divorced, and Dad lived locally, but didn't really do much to try to be a dad. Just support financially when legally necessary, and he let it slip once to me that he never wanted any kids. He just loved my mum, and she wanted kids, so he went along with it. Obviously, with this kind of dynamic and the absolute lack of resources, home life wasn't great prior to the divorce. I was helping fix drywall at like 5 years old because we could only afford to live in crummy, rundown houses. I remember stripping paint with a steamer and putty knife at about 6 or 7, and only learnt recently that the house had lead paint. Oh, that's not a good thing. Older siblings did even more housework and probably inhaled a bunch of lead dust and toxic substances. Couple that with the emotional abuse of our parents, and they didn't grow up to be good people, of course. My oldest brother had anger issues and got kicked out of college for fighting people. He also got arrested a few times for stuff involving theft or violence. Older sister struggled with substance abuse, got arrested a few times, ended up involuntarily committed for 72 hours once. Whoo, boy. She's doing a lot better nowadays, but still an unpleasant person. Next brother went on to just be an employee at a large chain store, where I think he might be a manager now. All 3 still live in the impoverished town we grew up in. My next sister and I are close enough in age that we're very similar. Both joined the military to escape the poverty trap of our hometown. Smart move. I joined the army and she went Navy, even at about the same time. While in the service, we both pieced together a bunch of things about our siblings and parents that made everything clear. It was like we both had half of a connect the dots puzzle that made no sense, and when put together, the outcome was a big sign that said, everyone in this family is awful. She confronted them about it after her contract ended, and got kind of dragged into the drama all over again. She moved to a city near the hometown about 1 hour away, and started working there right away. I got everyone else out of my life. I hadn't spoken to most of them in years, and the others are cursory and obligatory in nature. After my contract ended, I started college using the GI Bill, which not only paid for my tuition, but also paid a monthly housing stipend so I could focus on school. My family fucking hated that I was basically getting free school to them. Like, what? I don't know if that sentence was structured right. Oh yeah, it is. I'm just not reading it right. Can't explain that it meant giving up 4 years of my life for active duty and I have to drill every month in the services, and part of my body is permanently wrecked. To them, it is an unfair advantage. While in school, I had a habit of buying a lottery ticket every month when the GI Bill hit my account. It was borderline superstitious, as I'd never had any notion of winning, because I remember a statistic once that men in California have a higher chance of actually being Brad Pitt than winning the lottery. My final semester, I won. I didn't win FU money by any means. I won the type of money where you could pay cash for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with 0.36 acres in a county where housing prices were below the national average, and then have nothing left. Yes, it's specific because that's what I did. I never told any family, including my cool older sister, because as much as I love her, she would almost be obligated to tell the rest of them. The purchase of that home happened when I was 25, so 11 years ago. Since then, I got married and had a kid, and have an all-round nice and pleasant life. About a year ago, older sister was going to be near where I lived, several time zones away from family, for work, and she wanted to visit me so she could meet my daughter and catch up. Against better judgment, I agreed because my wife wanted to know more about my family, who she had never met. So sister was staying with us for 3 days before she had to go off to do her work stuff, and spent the whole time just reminiscing. I can't say that word. Just reminiscing and catching up. At one point during dinner on the second night, she asked about what my mortgage must be like, since she paid $900 in rent for something much smaller and with no yard. My wife scoffed briefly, unaware that my family didn't know of my financial windfall. Sister, though a troubled individual, is no dummy and picked up on that. Her tone shifted from casual to serious, and asked, "What does that mean?" I am not great at lying, improv, or doing anything without excess planning. I sat stupefied while trying to figure out what to say before my wife said, "Well, he used his winnings to just buy the house." Thus setting off the chain reaction of questions that culminated with sister finding out I made 6 digits for free while attending college for free and getting rent paid while not doing any effing work. She was absolutely livid and left for a hotel. About 2 hours later, the phone calls began from every member of my family, accusing me of cutting them off so I wouldn't have to share this gift from God. The sister I got along with even got angry at me for keeping it a secret, but she understood that it would have put her in a bad position of lying to family. My phone, email, and wife's phone began blowing up for the next week, while family tried to get money from me, not understanding that there wasn't any left. They kept saying that they're about to file for bankruptcy because of debt, and I could save the family, but I'm just being selfish. After a week, lawyers got involved because my family started threatening to sue me for damages for everything wrong in our family. They eventually did file. Every single thing that could even remotely justify going to small claims court for or a full lawsuit was brought up. They even added up an estimated amount of gas money I borrowed since starting to drive at 16 with verbal agreements to pay you back later. Parents are gonna be like that. Taking into account inflation and current gas prices. Whoa! Everything together they asked for would have just been short of buying another house in cash. I am able to post this now because I was able to get about 9% of it dropped for being absolutely ridiculous, as you should, and showing that a lot of their claims occurred during a time when I had no contact with them. Thank you, phone and email records. The remaining 10% of what they wanted was stuff that happened when I was 17 or 18, like denting one of their cars, or injuring them when I threw an empty beer bottle during a fight and leaving a permanent scar where the glass cut them. After lawyer and court fees, plus paying damages, I lost a bit more than 10k to family. The stress from the legal battle affected me at work, and when it got out I was being sued by family after winning a lottery, all my co-workers began asking for help financially. No, it got bad enough, people coming to my home at night, they had to request a transfer to a different branch where nobody knew me. Now I'm having to sell the home I bought, where my daughter was growing up in, to move to a more expensive city where the other branch is, all because I let my family back into my life. TLDR, grew up poor, family sucked, joined military to escape poverty, found out family sucked even more than previously thought, went to college, basically won a house in the lottery, never told family. A decade later, family found out. They sued me for every single thing they thought they could. I lost 10k due to fees, had to leave my job and move to a bigger city, all because my family sucks. Moral of the story, don't let family back in if they are a horrible bunch of people. You had just a whole bunch of co-workers just be like, oh, pay my bills for me, please. Like, why? I thought the co-workers would be nicer. Like, it's just like they expect you to be like, money, but no, you the only money you had was literally from your work. Yeah, that is stupid. Like, the family part, I'm like, yeah, that was bound to happen. But the co-workers is what just does it for me. That was horrible, uncalled for. Oh my gosh. Just leave them behind like I'm leaving the story behind. TIFU telling my parents about my inheritance. Oh, we got double buddies, huh? So, I'll read the TLDR at the end of the story. My 36-year-old sister died 6 months ago from a heart condition. Well, off to a good start here. She practically raised me, so it's been pretty difficult to deal with. I'm in my final year of university and have failed every single class this semester. She'd be disappointed, but it is what it is. My sister never married, never had children. I lived with her near campus. She ran her successful side business. I got to help her occasionally as a paid intern. She worked a lot, but not to support us. She wanted to retire by the time she was 40. She would have been done in 4 years, and her heart had to fail her first. When she died, her attorney read her will to me. She had left everything to me. She had an extremely large amount of money put away for her retirement and side accounts for various activities for her retirement. I was unaware that, but she had made several real estate investments so she could continue living a comfy lifestyle once she retired. She left her 2006 Subaru to me and willed a current house to me as well. She had explained she wanted to use this house for college housing eventually. This was all extremely overwhelming to hear. She left nothing to my parents, but as they didn't know she had assets, they willingly paid for the funeral and any other associated costs. My sister was no contact with our parents, and I'm very low contact. We are their only two children. At the funeral, my parents asked me how I was going to continue going to college without her money. Well, they thought she paid for them. It's like, I have student debt. I told them I'd continue to take out loans. And they asked about my living arrangements, and I shrugged. At the time, I didn't know all the details anyway. Well, 2 weeks ago, I found that my parents tried to sell my sister's house whilst I still lived there. They brought a realtor and toured our home and everything. I was on the cameras set up in the home. It was all on the cameras set up in the home. When I called them and informed them I'd be calling the police, they explained the situation. I told them it was my home and it was willed to me. They couldn't sell it. They were confused heavily. I told them to meet at my attorney's and set a time. Cue today. My attorney explained the will to my parents. My mother went white as a sheet, and my father was grumbling about suing me for his rightful money plus the cost of the funeral. My mother began ugly sobbing, telling the attorney he was wrong. Her daughter would not leave the house to someone like me. The attorney cut the meeting short, and now we're preparing for the inevitable lawsuit coming my way. I just wanted to sleep and avoid all this. Just some added info. Mum is a stay-at-home mum, but like the kind who spends her life in the country club, not the involved kind. Dad is a businessman and is usually on business trips for weeks at a time. They live, as I call it, lower upper class. I'm not gonna read the edits. I don't really like when people do edits unless it's like just story details. Because like I look at the first edit and it's just, oh, thanks for the support. I'm like, you don't really need to acknowledge that. But let's read the TLDR. Sister died and left me her home. Parents tried to sell it, so I had to explain the will. Now they're gonna sue me. And with that, I'm gonna end the episode here. I didn't read the top story of the month because it is the NSFW. Anyways, links will be in the description to my main channel and also the second channel that you're on right now to check out. Don't forget to subscribe to the notification bell so you know it comes out. A ding, a ding. I'm the Mad Scientist out.